All right, to all the viewers that have joined the stream, I hope you are all able to hear me now. So we are about to start the race at Catalonia GP. So first we have Advansi fight, then we have Pagal Raja Mehul, Arhan, Saurav, Dominic, Taz Motorsport, Shevin, Mr. Distortion, Vishal, Quedeca, Vijit, and Abdus. So the lights are about to go on, and here we are at Catalonia, Spain. Everyone has had a launch, and it seems like Adwan has managed to get a decent launch to stay ahead of Mehul. But Mehul is very close to him, will go side by side. Let's see whether he sends a move. Let's hope these guys take the first corner carefully. It seems like a couple of people may have just gone a little wide. Let's go towards the back of the pack to see. It seems like all of them have maintained, a decent level of sportsmanship, and no one has had a big loss so far. So you see, at this point, we have a good mixture of three types of cars. So if you look at the cars, you will see they are either in the McLaren, they are either in the Ferrari, or they are either in the Red Bull. The thing is, all these three cars are having completely different setups. The way they handle, it's different. But there's one common thing across all these three cars, and that is their time. All these three cars, despite having different setups, achieve the same lap time around this track. And that's the design. That's how this setup was designed, to make sure that all the cars are even, but at the same times they retain the correct characteristics of how they behave in real life. So for example, let's go to at one who is in lead, who is in the McLaren. So the McLaren is more like a stable car. It's high on downforce at the front, high on the downforce on the rear, making it good in turning, good at rotation, while also being stable at the rear at the same time. We go further down, we see Saurav, who is in the Ferrari. The good thing about Ferrari is that it's low on drag. We're calling it Monza spec Ferrari. It's low on drag, meaning it's good in acceleration, good at the top end, but it doesn't have quite the grip when it comes to cornering. Then we have the Red Bull, as we can see Dominic in P4. The Red Bull is very pointy, so it really likes to turns out of all the cars. Red Bull turns the most, turns the best, I should say. But it's also loose on the rear, so you have to be very precise and careful with your inputs. Now let's go through the grid quickly. I'll just pause myself here just for a minute to check whether my voice, I'm audible or not. And for those of you who are watching the stream, you guys can confirm if I'm audible or not, because I don't want to be commentating and then later finding out that I'm not audible. So let's see. So yep, I am audible. So here we are. First we have At1C5. So we have a couple of strategies that these guys could be following. Thank you Sufyan for confirming that I'm audible. So yep, we see Abdus's friend who's supporting Abdus. Where is Abdus at this point? Abdus is P7. So some of you guys might be wondering that why is Abdus and others like Vijit and Quedeca, why are they behind? Generally these are the guys that are starting at the top of the pack. The thing is, we are now into the phase 2 of the league, where there will not be any qualifying, and the driver that is leading the championship will start last. The driver who is second will start last to second. So this is the reverse grid of the drivers point table championship at this point. So as I explained, the first guy will start the last guy will start the first, and the guys in the middle in a similar fashion. That is why these guys are towards the back, and that is how they are lined up. Oh, and we just see Vishal has had an incident. He looks like he was in the Red Bull. We are not sure what quite happened with him, but looks like maybe either there was an incident, or maybe because this Red Bull, as I was talking, this is a very pointy car. You have to be very, very careful, when you're touching the curves, when you're taking the corners, very precise with your input. If you turn a little bit too much, the rear just steps out. So anyway, let's go through the grid. Let's get an idea of what the strategies that exist that these guys could be following. So we have the one who is currently on soft tires and seems to have used a little bit of his boost, but at the same time he has managed a decent enough lead from Mehul in P2, who is in P2, who is on medium tires, who has saved his boost. So I believe he's doing good as well at this point. And we see one thing to note is, these two McLarens are at this point leading the race. So McLaren seems to be maybe the choice. Let's go to P3. We have Vijit, who is in P3 and who is in the Ferrari. An interesting thing about it is he's on the hard tires. Sorry, I had to drop off for a minute. So we see Widget in P3, who is on hard tires, who has saved his boost. So he's also doing good. And Widget honestly has made a great progress in this race, given that he started last 2 seconds. So he's made it to P3 already. But yeah, we just see him having a moment there. So he has to be careful with the Ferrari again. It lacks that drag, so he has to be careful as that. Behind him is Sora, who is again in the Ferrari, also on hard tires. We see Darsh Shebin on soft tires trying to maybe make a move on that Ferrari, but it's not easy to make a move on that Ferrari because we know this on the straights the Ferrari is pretty decent, but maybe through these corners, the intersection is where the McLaren comes alive. Abdus is currently in P9 and he is in the Ferrari setup. He is on the hard tire, so he's basically at this point is on the same strategy as Widget. We're not quite sure what went so good with Widget that didn't quite go well with Abdus. Maybe he had traffic to face, maybe he has had moments. If we look at the fourth lap of Abdus, we see the time is 1 minute 28 seconds. He lost about 4 seconds on that lap. There must have been an incident or a mistake from him. Let's go to Vishal, who is on Red Bull, and he is, of course, we know he has had an incident as well. Maybe spun out. We're not quite sure at this point, but he's on hard tires, so he has some work to do. Maybe a lot more work than others, but again, he's on hard tires. So if he gets his head under it, and he's the guy that we know that if he really, he's concentrated, we know he can do it. We have Arhan, who is P11, a quick guy, a rookie, but a quick guy. He's in the Red Bull on hard tires. Not quite an ideal race for him, but again, the same thing as I said for Vishal. If he puts his head and focuses on the race, he doesn't have to push. He has, as we see him putting 124, so it's not a bad lap. He just has to focus and make sure to put consistent laps rather than quick laps. So this time around, we see the grid has spread out because all of these guys are kind of on very different tires at this point, but towards the end of the race we'll for sure see the strategies converge. So basically either these guys are doing a 2-stopper or they are doing a 3-stopper. Yeah, hopefully Arhan has a stable internet connection. So far he has had, I think, 2 or maybe even 3 disconnects so far, and very unfortunate for him, but hopefully at least he'll get to race today. Let's see. So as I was saying, there are a couple of strategies that are possible: 2-stopper or 3-stopper. So all these guys will have to use all 3 tires. They'll have to use the soft tires, medium tires, and the hard tires. Since this is a 35 lap race, if these guys do a 2-stopper, they would ideally be doing around 11 laps on softs, 12 laps on mediums, and 12 laps on hards, because the soft tires, they don't last more than 11 laps, and the hard and medium tires, they do last more than 12 laps, but again your fuel won't last more than 12 laps unless you decide to save it, which is something that you will really have to consider, because the refueling rate is 10 liters per second. It's lower than in the first and second race, but it's still high enough. 10 liters per second is very high realistically, because in real life if you watch WEC, it's somewhere around 3 to 4 liters for them per second, but here we have a refueling rate of 10 liters per second. Yeah, we can try that, a Formula 1 theme song post race, but the only thing I'm afraid of is hopefully I don't get a copyright for that. So let's see, maybe we can play it for 5-10 seconds and hope that it doesn't happen. So we have Advancify on soft tires. He's managed 12 seconds from Mehul. Of course, these soft tires are quicker, but again, the lap time he's putting is using that boost wisely, because he has clear air ahead of him. So this is the point where he can use those soft tires. You can use that overtake. Really, you want to save only a little bit, about 20% for the end of the race. Rest you can use, and you should use in clean air or when you are on soft and medium tires. Then we have Mehul, who has saved quite a bit of his boost. I believe he must be going to use it on the soft tires. He's on medium tires. He's about 12 seconds behind Advancify. Maybe a gap that's longer than it should have been, but I think he might be able to catch up to Adwan if Adwan makes a mistake, or perhaps Mehul just has more pace on softs. We'll see. Shebin in P3. Such a good start from him overall. Yes, he was on soft, but he's managed to get some clean air, get some breathing room. Now he can put and focus on the race. He has nobody by himself, so he can focus on his own race, put in some decent laps. And I think Shebin is a substitute for Flash. So those are going to be some helpful points for Flash. We see Widget, who is on hard tires in the Ferrari, so someone to look out for. At this point, he's on the hard tires, so he probably will be not be pushing too much. He's not going to fight with these guys, Dominic and others. Well, if we see, Abdus has managed to almost get back to Widget. Earlier Abdus was having a bigger gap to Widget, but now if you look, we have Widget, then right behind him we have Dominic, and right behind Dominic, about 1.6 seconds, we have Abdus. So Abdus has managed to get them really. So Abdus is not out of this race, and he's also managed to save his boost. We also see Quedeca. Oh, he looks like he maybe missed his braking point and went a little bit on the outside to avoid hitting Abdus there. A good move, I should say, if that was the case, but again, I don't have an exact idea of what happened there. Let's switch to this camera, which is something that you guys will like to see for a while. So we have Quedeca in P7. Vishal, we can see. No, fortunately, I haven't gotten any copyright issues for Max Verstappen song that day. So yeah, hopefully it won't happen today either. We have Saurav, who is on hard tires on Ferrari. So he's in P9. I think a decent position for him, given the fact that he's on hard tires as well. We have Mr. Distortion on hard tires. Not maybe quite as good as he would have liked, because he was starting up ahead somewhere, but maybe he is ahead. And let us look at his lap times. So we see his lap 7, 1 minute 30 seconds, lap 8, 1 minute 26 seconds, and also lap 2, 1 minute 26 seconds. So he looks like he's had a couple of moments there, not quite there for him. But let's see, again, this is a long race. We are only on lap 9 of 35, so lots of work for Mr. Distortion and Arhan to do at this point. But as we see Vishal, he was on hard tires. He almost spun out there. But again, we know this guy. He's the champ, man. He really, when he gets his head down, he knows how to get those and put those consistent laps. And just like how Abdus has done it, he almost lost it. He almost had a 6 to 7 seconds gap to Widget. But now he is about 3 seconds, or should I say 2.5 seconds from Widget. So we have this back here. We have Adwan Sifai in the leading group, and we look at Adwan's tire. His front left, he's on soft, so they are going to die quickly. His front lefts are 60% gone at this point. We have Mehul, who is on mediums, 15 seconds behind. So mediums will last, but the fuel is the question. So that will be something that Mehul will have to take into consideration. Then we have Dars again, who is actually better on tires, should I say, than Adwan. They're both on soft tires, but Dars has managed his tires better than Adwan, but at the same time his pace has been slower than that of Adwan. Then we have Widget, who is kind of at this point in the slip. Now look at how much he gains on Dars. He's not using his boost. This is slipstream plus the Ferrari's straight line advantage. The Ferrari has the acceleration, the top end. Look at that. So that is something that really will help the Ferrari guys. That will help them overtake on the straights. But again, in the corners, it will be more difficult. As you can see how Widget went extremely wide. He understeered. The Ferrari doesn't quite have the grip. Oh, he almost ends up going into the back of Dars. So this is a tough point for Dars, because Dars is on soft tires, but those soft tires have worn a little bit, whereas Widget is on hards, but those hard tires have life. So this will be interesting. This will be interesting to see whether Widget sends a move onto Dars or not. Seems like he has sent a move. Whether there was contact or not, maybe there was a little bit of contact. How fair or unfair that was, that remains to be seen. That remains to be seen when the incidents are submitted. We see Aptus has made a move on Dominic, and he is now. Oh, we see Dars has outbraked himself. Has braked too late, maybe. Oh, and who is that? Dominic. Dominic has gotten a disconnection, I believe. Not sure at this point. he has had a disconnection. Let's focus to P1, our leader Advancify, who has pitted. As I said, the soft tires will last about 11 laps, and also the fuel won't last more than 12 laps. So he has pitted. We see Vijit has pitted. We see Abdus going out for one more lap. So he'll do 12 laps on hards. We're not sure the strategy that he's going to follow at this point. We don't know whether he's missed the pits. I don't think he's missed the pits. I think he has the fuel to do 12 laps. We see Vishal staying out. We see Pagal Raja, of course, staying out. And we see Abdus using his boost, a little bit of it at this point as well. So that's wise of him. We see Saurav staying out for 12 laps. These guys seems to have calculated something that maybe other guys didn't quite calculate, or maybe the other guys calculated something that these guys didn't. It could be anyway. So that will be interesting to see. That remains to be seen as we head towards the pit stop of these guys. I'm sure these guys will pit on this lap. I'm not sure. Yeah, we can see Dominic has rejoined the room, but I'm not sure what happened. He has had maybe a disconnect. Not sure at this point, but maybe this is a bit too late for a restart. Had it happened a little earlier, it would have Distortion is here. Dominic, I think, got disconnected. Mr. Distortion is here. Had the disconnection happened in the first, second, or third lap, a restart could have been possible, but it has happened so late. Very unfortunate for Dominic, and again, really sad to see that. But let's focus on the race. We see Mehul has pitted, Abdus has pitted, Vishal has pitted. Vishal is the guy who, he has used his boost compared to Abdus, but he was so far behind. He has managed to get back to where Abdus was. Let's see where these guys come out of. Do they come out ahead of Vijit? Do they come out behind Vijit? Because Vijit was the leading car, but he pitted one lap earlier. Vijit is now onto mediums. He's using his boost. He knows that he needs to use his boost when he's when he's having this clean air, and he's going to do exactly same. So yeah, can Abdus get a win? I think he can. He's in a decent position right now. We see he has refueled. Let's see how much Vijit has refueled. But it seems like Vijit has a good jump over Abdus at this point. Abdus has come out so far back behind Vijit. So maybe that staying out extra lap on hards costed Abdus a little bit of time. Maybe those hards didn't have quite the grip, or maybe he had to save more fuel. As I was saying, to save 12 laps of fuel, it's not an easy thing. So that remains to be seen, because again, Abdus, of course, is one lap. He pitted one lap later, has this handicap, but this also means that he'll be able to stay on softs for one lap less, meaning he will have one lap's fresher softs compared to Vijit. So that might come in handy towards the end of the race. At this point, Adwan is really in a good position. He is pitted for hards. Mehul is also in a good position. So is Vijit. So is Quedeka, and so is Abdus. Das Motorsport is also in a decent position, but again, he has used his soft tires, so he's now on mediums, but he'll soon be going on to the hard tires. So it's going to be a bit of a difficult job for him to keep Abdus and others behind him. Let's see where Vishal is. Vishal is 4.8 seconds behind Abdus. He is on mediums. So let's quickly go through the grid again. Advancify P1, Mehul in P2, Vijit in P3. Our net leader at this point is again Advancify, because he started the race in P1. Then we have P2 Mehul, and Mehul is on hard tires. He started on mediums. So this is the stint where Vijit will gain on Mehul. In the earlier stint, Mehul was the one who was pulling away from Vijit, but in this stint, it will be Vijit. So for Mehul to secure a second position, he will have to make sure. Oh, and we just see Vijit going wide there. That might just be a penalty for him. Yeah, as I was just saying, that might just be a penalty. Catalunya is a track where you have to be really careful with the track limits. It's very easy, and it's not a forgiving track. It gives you penalties immediately. But I was saying, Mehul will have to defend aggressively if he wants to secure that P2 from Vijit, because he has to defend until, if I'm not wrong, at least until the end of 23 laps. When the counter says 23 laps, till that point, Mehul will have to make sure that he manages to hold Vijit up. And of course, when Vijit serves this penalty, he will for sure get some breathing room. Mehul will definitely get some breathing room when Vijit serves this penalty. We have Quedeca, we have Vijit, we have Quedeca behind Vijit, 1.6 seconds. This is the inner section. We can see the Red Bull is quite good here. We will see the Red Bull gain on Vijit around this part of the track, where because the Red Bull is a very pointy car and turns in really well, but of course has its own issues. The traction, the straight line is not quite there. It's not bad, but it's not quite as good as Ferrari. But the gap was 1.5 seconds, but it's now 1.1 seconds as Vijit comes to serve a penalty. Quedeca will gain even more, but it seems like Vijit has just managed to secure his position. There was just enough for Vijit to stay ahead of Quedeca. But what it means is now earlier Vijit was alone, but now it's between Vijit and Quedeca. Both these guys on the same strategy. So this remains interesting to be seen. Now let's look at the straight. We see the slipstream is quite strong, despite the fact, look at how much Quedeca is gaining. He's gaining, but again, the Ferrari straight line is really helping Vijit to stay ahead of this point. Had Vijit and Quedeca both been on Red Bull, Quedeca would have easily managed to overtake Vijit there. Let's shift our attention to Vijit. He has, closed his gap to Mehul, who is on P2 right now on hard tires. So this is of course expected, but not quite as good, or I don't think Mehul would be very happy to see that. But again, that is expected. Mehul maybe didn't quite have as much pace on those medium tires as Vijit had. Now let's shift our attention to Vijit for now. He's on mediums. He for sure knows that Mehul is on hards because Vijit has been gaining on Mehul. Let's see where he decides to make his move. He puts his nose on the inside, and for sure, both of them have gone deep. But looks like Vijit has managed to get the overtake done. Maybe broke too late, but I think overall, after breaking late, he has managed to make that move. And as we see, Vijit and Quedeca going side by side. Vijit leaves enough room, but manages to stay ahead of Quedeca. They are again very close to each other. Vijit, Quedeca, very strong, very close to each other. Seems like Quedeca is willing to work together with Vijit, and maybe Quedeca will now send a move on the inside of Vijit. So this is interesting. It seems like the fight has already started between these two. Let's see whether Vijit decides to work together with Quedeca, or whether Vijit also tries to send some moves on Quedeca, because what this will do is Abdus is right here in P5. He's on mediums. He maybe on his 12th lap or somewhere lost some time, and because of that he is a little behind these two guys. But when these two guys fight, it will help Abdus to catch up to them. And when Abdus is within your slipstream range, it's really anyone's game. We know how quick Abdus is. We know he can overtake you. So if you really want to beat Abdus, you want to make sure that you don't fight. You stay ahead enough so that Abdus is not in your slipstream range. Especially with the Ferrari that Abdus is in, it's going to be difficult to keep him at bay, especially on that long straight. Let's focus and let's shift our attention to we should stick on to Abdus at this point, because we will see him soon making a move on Mehul, who is on hard tires. We'll see Abdus making a move on Mehul because he's on mediums, Mehul is on hards, and he needs to get past Mehul as early. Now you see Abdus is using a little bit of his boost, but maybe Mehul is as well, because that McLaren is very good on the corners, but it's not that good on the straights. Or perhaps, I should mention that Mehul also has the slip of Vijit at this point, and that is also helping him to stay ahead. But if you look at the gap has come down to 6 tenths, and Abdus is 4 tenths purple on the first sector. Abdus is putting some really good laps in. So let's see how it all goes for Abdus. We see Mehul, he's doing decent, but again, that's all he can do with these hard tires. He can't do much better than that. And just on one corner, just look how much more grip Abdus has under those medium tires compared to Mehul. I'm sure Abdus will try for a move on this corner because he doesn't want to wait too much. He must send it and he does so. Does he make the move stick? It seems like he has. But Vijit at this point is was behind Mehul, or we see there are a couple of incidents that have occurred. We're not 100% sure, but this was not ideal for any of these three drivers. But of course, not as bad for Abdus. But I think the big loser here are Vijit and Mehul, because Abdus was anyway behind. All this has done is helped Abdus, but Abdus will of course work smartly and work with Vijit at this point, because he knows when Vijit serves that penalty, he can easily get past Vijit. So very wise call from Abdus to just stay within his slip, maybe save a little bit of fuel, and just stay behind him. The moment when Vijit serves that penalty, or maybe he's going for a move, and we see, wow, Abdus does not even want to stay behind him. He is going to make that move, and Vijit, of course, he won't. He, at least at this point, has decided not to fight it much. Has decided the better of it. We see Mehul, we see Das Motorsport in P6 a little far at this point. We see him, he's on mediums. We see Vishal is on mediums. By the way, Vishal's tire is significantly better than Das on mediums, and about similar. Vijit got a penalty that is because he must have invalidated the track limits at some point. He must have gone off the track at some point. He must have cut the corner somewhere. That is why game gives you a half second or sometimes a 1 second penalty. So we see, by the way, Abdus having a decent amount of boost left. He's in P3 right now. So Vijit, our potential, let's say, if you look at the pack other than Adwan C5 and Mehul, Vijit was our potential next pack leader. But now he's in that pack, but he's towards the end of that pack. He's last in that pack. The race has not been very kind to Vijit, should I say. Maybe he lagged the pace, not 100% sure at this point, but again, not quite kind, not as good as he would have liked. He had such a good lead at the beginning, and in the first stint on those hard tires, not quite there for him. So Abdus doing decent at this point. Quedeca at this point has the other than Atwan, Quedeca has the best possible position, and yeah, it is intense. It will be intense between these two guys. One advantage, not a huge but a significant advantage Abdus has at this point is he has a little bit more boost. I think Quedeca has 50 seconds of boost left, or yeah, 50 seconds, and Abdus has about 75 seconds of boost left. So if Abdus manages his pace well without using the boost, or he has that extra boost, so he can either use it to catch up to Quedeca or maybe decide to use it later. If it was me at this point, I would probably use some of it, not a lot of it, some of it to catch up to Quedeca, then stay in his sleep, because once you're in someone's slipstream, you can stay with them even if they are a little faster than you. So that's something that you can consider. But of course, I think if you consider the natural pace of Abdus, maybe it's there. He has a little better pace than maybe Quedeca. But again, it remains to be seen, because as we see on the inner section, Quedeca is doing pretty decent. The gap was 1.7 seconds, but as we enter the inner section, it is now 1.9 seconds. Again, we see it increasing slightly and slightly, and that is because this Ferrari doesn't have that much of grip, because it's a low downforce, low drag car. So the intersection is where Abdus will struggle a little bit compared to Quedeca. But now as we come towards the straight, this is where Quedeca will struggle. The Red Bull is decent in acceleration, but the Ferrari has the best acceleration and top end of it all. And it seems like Quedeca has been struggling a little bit on the last sector, because he lost, last sector is his, to be honest, but he lost some time. And as we look on the timing board, we see Abdus is gaining massively. Look at it, 1.4, 1.417. That straight line is definitely helping Abdus. He's not even in the slipstream yet, despite the fact that he's not in the slip. He's gaining on Quedeca. The gap is now 1.3 seconds. Abdus has used a little bit of his boost to get into the slipstream, and it still has significantly more, so he can use a little bit of it. But again, we enter the intersection. This is where Quedeca can have a little bit of an advantage. Let's see if he can utilize that advantage to stay ahead of Abdus. But again, we see Abdus is really just walking his way really nicely around the intersection of the path. This is where he struggles. He should be struggling because the Ferrari doesn't have the grip, but it doesn't seem like he is. All he has done is he has managed to close his gap to Quedeca. As I was saying, Abdus has, if I have to be honest, he has the pace. He has a slight pace advantage over Quedeca. I think he's really quick, and he, being in that Ferrari, he's managed to get and catch up Quedeca. So yeah, this remains something that we'll see what happens towards the end of the race. Who uses that boost more? Who saves it? Who uses it wisely now? Abdus seems to be making a move on Quedeca, and it's going to be an easy move because look at the difference: 280 for Ferrari, 270 something for Red Bull. Yep, you are right, Sufyan. He was, I should say, going to make a move on Quedeca because he had that straight line advantage, and he'll want to push because Abdus is not just fighting against Quedeca. He's also fighting to get that P1 from Advancify, who's been doing pretty decent, I should say. Advancify is still holding the fastest lap record of 120.9 on those softs that he used in his first stint. But now we'll see Abdus go from medium tires to soft tires, and we'll see Advancify go from hard tires to medium tires. So in the last stint, Abdus will have soft tires, Advancify medium tires. So Abdus will have an advantage over Advancify, but will it be enough for Abdus to get Advancify? Because if you are Abdus, you want to maximize your championship points table, your ranking, the points that you score, so that even if you have one bad race, you have enough of a buffer to keep the other guys behind. We see Advancify has pitted. It will be interesting to see whether he does a 3-stopper or 2-stopper, because again, as I said, there are two strategies: 2-stopper versus 3-stopper. So let's see what strategy Advancify goes in. We see Quedeca has pitted. Let's see what strategy he's gone and selected. So whether these guys are doing a 2-stopper or 3-stopper is something that we'll see now. This is when it is going to uncover. Vijay is of course doing a 2-stopper because he used hards for really long, but those guys like Advancify that started on soft tires, Advancify used his hard, so he's again doing 2-stopper. Let's see what Vijay is doing. Vijay of course will go to soft, as I said. Das Motorsport, let's see what strategy he's doing. I think he's doing a 2-stopper as well. He's put on hard tires, or maybe, we don't know, we might just do 1 lap or 2 laps and come back to the pits. Let's see. Mr. Distortion on mediums, and we see Saurav in P9. He's coming out on softs. So will those softs, I think they should last 11 laps. Seems like all these guys are doing a 2-stopper. Arhan at this point has dropped further than for sure he would have liked. So the race has gone downhill for him. He has lost quite a bit of time somewhere, so that remains to be seen where he lost so much of time. Was that small errors that added up to this big of difference, or maybe there were multiple big spin outs and stuff? So let's go. We have Abdus who is pitted. We have Advancify who is currently going to be our leader. We have Quedeca. Well, let's focus on Quedeca at this point, and let's see where Abdus comes out. How much of a lead does Quedeca have over Abdus? Because when Abdus was on the medium tires, Quedeca was on the soft tires. So of course we expect Quedeca to come out ahead of Abdus, but let's see how much is that margin. You see, Abdus has come out. The gap is about 2.6 seconds at this point between Abdus and Quedeca. So let's see whether Abdus can, how easily can Abdus close that gap in. Of course, that's not a huge gap, but that's not a small gap as well, as both these guys on the same sets of tire. But each lap, if you see, Abdus has 1 lap advantage over Quedeca. So let's see whether that 1 lap advantage is enough. I think it should be enough if Abdus gets his head in. But again, I did not mention that these three are different setups, so the tire wear could be slightly different. It could be that maybe the Red Bull is slightly better than. Oh, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. It's the other way around. Abdus has come out ahead of Quedeca, not Quedeca. Sorry. I apologize to the viewers. It was the other way around. I had been looking at it the wrong way around. Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry. So we have Abdus in P2. His gap from Advancify is 14 seconds. We have Advancify on medium tires, Abdus on softs. 14 seconds is the gap, and we are currently on the 26th lap. So we have 10 lap to go. Let's see whether Abdus can get Advancify. Again, 14 seconds is honestly a big gap, and it's soft versus mediums. If it was soft versus hards, it would have been easy. But again, still, despite the fact that Advancify started in P1, Abdus started last. He has closed up so much to Advancify. It really has showed how much of a pace Abdus has. But what's so interesting at this point is Saurav has put it the quickest lap on the Ferrari at this point. Saurav has a 120.2 at this point. That's a very quick lap. Earlier, Advancify had the quickest lap of 120.9. Very quick lap from Saurav. He's on those softs. Mr. Distortion is on the softs. Dars is on the hard tires. So these two guys will be fighting among themselves and will also, of course, try to get ahead of Dars. Mehul, we see, is on softs. Vishal is on softs. So there's a battle going on between these two guys. We see Mehul as center move, has left enough room for Vishal. They're going to go side by side. Oh, and Mehul maybe just gets Vishal there just by a little. So Mehul has enough of a distance to just get the full track. How many laps are the softs? The softs are going to last 11 laps, and you can make them last 12 laps. So I don't think anyone is going to pit anymore. This is really a race to the finish line, and this is going to be a battle between Vishal and Pagaraja. As you can see, Vishal's car has a red bar above it, whereas Mehul's car has a green bar above it. What it means is Vishal is significantly low on boost compared to Mehul, who has about 55 seconds. Vishal has about 15 to 20 seconds of boost left, so that will also help Mehul there. And we see Vishal, these guys are going to fight a little bit. That might help these two guys to catch up, but again, 12 seconds, a bit too much. Let's focus on our leader at this point. Advancify on medium, Abdus on soft. 13 seconds is the gap. Seems like Abdus has managed to get 1 second on Advancify, but we don't have as much time really. We have what now? We are on the 28th lap, so 5 and 8 laps left now. Will that be enough for Abdus? I think it will be difficult, but even a P2 will be a very, very strong result for Abdus, and it will only extend his championship lead at this point. He's the current leader in the championship table. I'll just excuse myself for a second. Need to drink some water here. I'm very thirsty. So here we are. I am back, and very unfortunate for Vijit. He's been getting penalties, and the race has only gone downhill, or you can say from bad to worse for Vijit at this point. How many points does Abdus and Quedeca have in the championship? So for you guys in the chat, if you want to know what is the championship standing at this point, Abdus currently is leading the championship, and his total points at this point are 75 points. We had Widget in P2 with 63 points. We have Quedeca in P3 with 61 points. So 14 points of a difference is what Abdus has over Quedeca at this point. Widget is also in the title championship fight at this point because it's just the fourth race. There are two more races to go. But this has not gone the way Vijay would have liked. Initially, it was looking a very good race for Vijay, but it didn't quite go that way. But let's see, there's still two more races, and maybe who knows? These guys are here. If by any chance, which is what Vijay would wish at this point, they make some errors, Vijay will be there ready to pounce on them. But these guys, again, very experienced, very good at what they are doing. They will make sure that they don't make any stupid error. So we see Abdus has been using his boost, and again, yes, at this point he must use his boost. He doesn't want to come back home with about half of the boost remaining. So he's using his boost. He has learned from his mistakes, and we see Advancify has a decent advantage, 9.5 seconds, a gap that's going to be difficult for Abdus to really close up. We also see him getting some tire wear, but that's not too high at this point. So Abdus would be fine with that tire wear. At the end, it will be interesting to see how much of a gap Advancify has, how much of a gap exists between Advancify and Abdus. All in all, I must say, a brilliant race from Abdus overall, and we were talking just about him, and maybe he'll just get a penalty there. Not sure. Let's see. I felt maybe went a little too wide, maybe, but it seems like he hasn't. He's gotten away with it. So gap 8.7 seconds between those two. Quedeca has more boost than Abdus. He saved it. Not sure when he'll use it, but he has time to use it so far. We have Widget, we have Vishal. Really, I think we must cover the fight between these two. At this point, both of these, Vishal and Mehul, are on soft tires. Vishal almost out of boost, whereas Mehul, I think, has made a very wise call. 45 seconds of boost. But he's now using that boost. I think if I were Mehul, I'll just keep, use the slipstream, keep more and more pressure on Vishal, so that Vishal uses his boost to defend and just make him run out of boost. And once he's out of boost, just make your move and try to pull away from him using your boost. Once you are out ahead of Vishal, so that he doesn't have your slip, you're done, you are clear. You have pretty much secured a P5 for yourself. But let's see, Vishal is in a different car. This is the part where Vishal should have a bit of an advantage over McLaren, because McLaren is pretty good here, but the best rotation is there in the Red Bull. So let's focus, let's see what these guys can do. It will be very interesting to see what result these two guys bring, and they're very, very close. This is as close as it could get. Just see how close Vishal is. He's having his nose just behind Mehul, and he's going to try it around the outside. He's going to be a little bit off track, but not something maybe too big. We'll see. Still, the gap is pretty low. So this is as interesting as it could get between these two guys. And yeah, I can't imagine what will happen on the last lap. So we are now near the straight. Let's see whether Vishal uses his boost or just uses the slipstream. Maybe the slipstream is just good enough for Vishal at this point, because the Red Bull has a slight straight line advantage over the McLaren. So that is where Vishal has made his move on the straight, used the slip, gotten past Mehul. So what we see is every time on the straight, these two guys are exchanging their positions, because the slipstream is there, and these cars have different advantages. If you're Vishal, you want to maximize the inner section and try to pull away from Mehul, but it's not so easy to do, is it? Because Mehul has that boost left, Vishal almost out of it. But what's so interesting is, despite the heavy fighting that's been going on for these guys, they've managed to close their gap to Vijay. Vijay is now only 3 seconds ahead of them, and now he's about 2.3 seconds ahead, or 2.2 seconds ahead, or in fact the gap has come down to 2 seconds between Vijay and Vishal. So this race has just gone bad to worse for him. And Vijit has significantly high tire wear. Yes, Nabij, let's see how much of a. Oh my god, that's interesting. Aptus has closed the gap quite significantly, but we also see Adwan has made mistake. If you look at the 31st lap of Adwan, he did a 24, while if you look at his other laps, he did 21. So he lost 3 seconds there. Maybe he had a penalty, maybe he had a moment. We're not quite sure what that was. But all that means is Aptus is now closer to Advancify than ever before. This must be really motivational for Advan. Aptus has really done really well and closed up to Advancify. We will see Advancify serve his penalty. He'll lose some time, and all that means is Aptus will gain on Advancify. Their boost level is similar. We see the gap is now 1.4 second. Aptus is pure championship mode at this point. 1.3 seconds. This is again getting very intense. Just like our previous races, this is also getting intense. We thought Advancify had enough of a buffer, and to be honest, he did have enough of a buffer. But maybe he made some errors. He made some errors which costed him that maybe perhaps this might cost him the win. We see Aptus gaining on the straight. Look at him gaining on the Ferrari on Atmansify. I think Atmansify getting those penalties costed him a bit too much. Now Aptus is on his slip. So we are in the intersection, but at this point you guys must not forget that Aptus is on soft tires. Those soft tires are wearing out. Whereas Atmansify is on mediums. Those mediums are almost as fresh they were when they came out of pits. So will it be easy for Aptus to make the move? As far as the boost is concerned, Advancify has slightly more boost than Aptus. So let's see when they use it. We are currently on the penultimate lap, and almost all of our races we have had great battles, especially towards the end of the race. This is what you want to see as viewers. We see the gap has come down to 1/10, and we see Aptus is around the outside. He's going to try to send it around the outside. Well, does he manages to do it? Maybe not. He's still on there. He's now has the inside. Advancify is on the outside. He'll try to stick it around the outside. He is on the outside. These guys, they are taking it really clean. They are doing it really intensely, but they are making sure that it's clean. We see Advancify is now in P2, but he'll use his boost and slipstream over Aptus. Aptus will surely use his boost. Advancify is out of boost. Aptus is out of his boost as well. We see Aptus moving, weaving back and forth. Maybe not quite something that you are allowed to do, but let's see. We'll see that towards the end. And oh my god, Advancify has sent it around the outside. He has made that move work. Now we'll see Aptus try again. He's very close. Advancify for sure will defend. Does Aptus manage to send it around the outside? I don't know. I don't think it would be easy for Aptus, because really that Ferrari doesn't have enough of an run on the outside. It lacks that downforce, but he has sent it on the inside. He's now ahead of Advancify. This is really getting intense. These guys are sending moves on almost every other corner, and Aptus is now ahead by 3/10. Let's see. We have one more point where maybe we could see Advancify send a move. Let's see whether Aptus will defend, whether Advancify will send a move there or not. Let's see. Advancify thinks better of it, but he's as close as he could be at this point. So let's see where he decides to send a move. I think he's probably run out of corners at this point. There's not many corners left now, and those corners don't involve any braking. So this is how this is really interesting. This is as close as it could have gotten. And we see Aptus in P1. Oh my god, what a close finish. 0.070. Aptus started last, finished first. Literally a last to first challenge. We see Quadeca in P3. A great run by Aptus, great execution by Aptus. We see Mehul in P4. We see Widget in P5. Not quite the race that Widget would have liked, but this is so interesting. And here Advancify, we have, bro, what an intense race. I would say though, it was great run from Aptus, but I think it was your race to lose, because you had enough of a buffer. Maybe you got some penalties. Yeah, you had like 14 or 15 seconds when Abdus was behind. It was your race, but still a pretty strong result from you. That yeah, that it's still a pretty strong. So close, so close, and yeah, yep.
Oh my god.
Oh my God, what an intense race, Abdus. Max Verstappen mode on. Last two first challenge for you, bro.
Yeah, man. 15, 15 seconds in 10 laps. Thanks, man.
I'll have to just drop off from the party. I'll come back. I'll have to end the stream, so I'll just drop off and come back to the
Okay.
party.
Sure, sure, sure.
So to the viewers, we must play the F1 theme song. Abdus has had an intense race, so let us play it. Let me just quickly find it. So congratulations to the viewers, the winners, and thanks to the viewers for joining in. Hope you enjoyed this race today. Make sure to leave a like, and we see you the next week for the last two races of the league. This was such an intense race, and hopefully the next race will be intense. Thank you, Sufyan, for joining in. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Let's see you next week. See you all.